Okay, yeah, we're doing a career switch, so I can't just ramble off a pitch to you. We're putting
Yeah,
together the
understood.
components to
Okay.
do this. Uh,
Well, let's
with
reverse it
that,
then. Let's reverse it
go
then.
ahead.
Why don't you tell me what is the primary value proposition that you're bringing to your marketplace, and then I'll pitch you. So
One more time.
what's the primary value proposition you're bringing to a prospect? Are you offering them savings? Are you offering them technology? Are you offering them, like what's the main value proposition for them?
Savings and ancillary services like web services, etc.
Sure. Okay, great. All right. So, Christian, and let me ask you another question. You and I have obviously talked several times, but as far as the prospecting methodology that you're going to primarily go with, because I know we were talking about a couple different things, are you primarily calling them on the phone first and scheduling an appointment, or are you walking in cold turkey?
Both. We're
Cool.
going to hit both platforms.
Okay, all right. Well, let's start with the phone one because I like that. That's one I haven't role played on as much, but it's something a lot of people use that's really effective. So let's say that I am calling Christian. Now, the first thing that I want to talk to you about, and let's role play a little bit on this, is getting past that gatekeeper. And so, just when was that? Yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday I was calling companies, cold calling myself to sell the instant quote tool, actually, and had to get past a lot of gatekeepers. And it's a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoy it. The way to get past the gatekeepers is basically to provide as little information as possible. You want to put yourself in a position where you are like the friend of the person that you're calling, or provide information that is going to make it impossible for them to stop you. So that's a tough one to role play on because we don't have a gatekeeper on here. But if I was to call Christian's business and somebody else picked up the phone, I would say, "Hi, my name is James Shepard. How are you doing today?" So go ahead, Chris.
Good, James. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, real quick, it's kind of an off the wall phone call for me, and it's a little bit unusual. But the reason I was calling you, Christian, is that I'm a local business owner here in the area. Well, actually, I wouldn't know his name yet. So the reason I'm calling is that I'm a local business owner here in the area, and I've really made a commitment to do more networking in the local area. And I thought one of the best ways to do that would just be to call local businesses and find out who the owner is and who the person would be to network with. So as a local business owner myself, who would I network with at your company that's another local business owner? So at this point, let's say that they said, the person you need to speak to is Christian, he's the business owner or whatever. So once they give me that name, and so you can kind of tell how I'm doing that opening pitch, it's very honest, it's very sincere. It does not sound like a salesperson at all. I go out of my way to honestly make it sound a little bit clumsy, which is kind of funny, but I've learned that works so much better. I can give you a really smooth, telemarketing appointment scheduling pitch, but it actually works a lot better to be a little bit on the clumsy side and almost like you feel a little awkward, like I never do this, and that's how I want to sound. Like I never call people like, I say, this is really kind of an off the wall, phone call. And I'm a little out of the ordinary. You'll have to kind of point me in the right direction here, but here's what I'm looking to do. I'm a local business owner and I'm just looking to network with other local business owners in the area. Who would that be at your place of business? Who would be the person there in charge that I could potentially network with as another local business owner? So again, very almost a little awkward, but you'd be surprised. It throws the gatekeeper off a little bit, and they will almost invariably give you the name of the person you need to speak with. And so when they do and they say, "Oh, it's Christian," then I would say, "Oh, great, is he in?" And so very quickly, "Oh, great, is she in?" Just very quick. You can't. That's the point where you're done talking. You're not telling them anything about your services or anything else. You just say, "Oh, great, is he in?" And just very quickly like that. And usually they will, if the person is there, they will actually put you on the phone with the person in charge because the gatekeeper just doesn't know what to do with you. It's like you're not really a sales rep. It doesn't sound like you're a local business owner. You want to network. You're not trying to sell anything. Like, what do I do with this call? And that's what you want. You need the gatekeeper to be a little bit confused and not really know what to do with this particular phone call. Now, if they pry further, and they can tell it's the gatekeeper. They're obviously not the decision maker, but they're prying like, well, what exactly is the phone call regarding? Then what you want to do is you can go one of two directions with it. You can either be very nonchalant, which is like, what? I just wanted to network and connect with them. I'm another local business owner in the area. Did you say he's there? So you can't let them answer you. You can't start a dialogue with them. You have to just keep pivoting right back to, is he there? Is he available? Oh, great. Is she in? And they're like, well, what's this call regarding? Well, really, I just want to network and talk to her. I'm another local business owner in the area. So I'm sorry. Did you say she's available? Like, you just have to go back into it. I'm sorry. Did you say she's available right now, or is this not a good time? Like, you have to just keep pivoting back. So anyway, once we do all that, Christian, then we're going to get that phone conversation. And so again, the phone call, the best thing to do when you're calling over the phone to schedule appointments is you want to make it as general as possible. You're really not trying to nail down anything specific other than a time and a name and who you're going to meet with. So this is where, Christian, if I was pitching you and I got you on the phone, I'd say, hi, Christian. My name is James Shepard. I'm another local business owner here in the area. I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to take this phone call. It's not something I do very often, but I don't know about you, but I've really made a commitment. I found that relationships really matter locally. And so I've really made a commitment to try to network more with local small business owners. So I've decided to take a little time every day and call some people in the area that I haven't met before. And what I'd love to do, Christian, is I'd love to take 5 minutes of your time. Just come by, drop off a business card. Maybe we can connect on LinkedIn, shake your hand, give you the 30-second spiel about my business, and you could do the same. And maybe there's something we could be doing together now or in the future that'd be mutually beneficial. Would you have any time this week where I could swing by and drop off a business card? So that's kind of the pitch that I like to use on that. Again, it's very simple. You don't want to get into a lot of stuff. Again, a lot of times they'll pry and say, well, tell me a little bit about your business. And I'll say, oh, sure, absolutely. We provide, small business solutions, a lot of different things. We're really focused on helping our clients save money through different avenues, different cost cutting things that we can help you with. We work with different vendors like a broker. So there's a lot of different things that we do. To be honest with you, though, I know you're probably really busy. I hate to take up a lot of your time on the phone. And again, I'm not really even looking for you saying you want to use my services. Really, I just want the relationship, and I want a chance to say hello and drop off my card if that's okay with you, with your permission. So a line like that's going to get you the appointment more times than not. So Christian, let's do this. You've been out in the field a little bit already. Are there any objections specifically maybe that you guys are getting that are maybe a stumbling block in your opening pitch or some kind of a barrier to entry that you're facing? Oh, did we lose Christian?
No. We're here. No, we're going by the 4 signposts that you use, which is monthly volume. If they have American Express, their PIN debit, and if it's not too in depth, ask them about their fees if they know.
Okay, so you're using the instant quote tool, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second too, because that's another really important point. So for some of you that maybe are on here that aren't familiar with this, what they're talking about is a tool called instantquotetool.com. I'll pull it up here on the screen just so you can see what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. You can go here and get a 30-day trial for free if you wanted to check it out. But basically what the Instant Quote Tool does is that it allows you to produce a PDF document instantly for the merchant. And it really serves a couple of purposes. Let me just sign in real quick here and I'll show you. It serves a couple of purposes for you. I have kind of shied away from using it over the phone. It's funny, I just talked to a rep this morning that is actually using it on the phone very successfully. And so it does work over the phone to basically the way he's using it is on the phone is he's getting a little bit more specific about what he does. And he does payment processing. And he says, I actually have a tool where in about 30 seconds, I can get a PDF proposal for you and just email it over to you. And that'll save us both a lot of time. I just want to send you my proposal. If it looks like it's something of interest to you, and it's going to be an approximate proposal. If it looks like it's of interest to you, then I'll come out and meet with you, et cetera, et cetera. And so he is kind of using it like that over the phone. I personally haven't had a great deal of success with that. I like using the tool I just did to get the appointment. And then once you have the appointment, then when you go in there, then you use this tool. And so let me show you kind of a couple ways to use this tool. And again, I'll pull it up like it's on a phone because that's really how everybody's using it in the field right now. So let's pull it up here like it's on a phone so you can see that. So here's how most salespeople are using it right now. They'll go into a business and they'll talk to them like they normally would, the normal opening pitch, which somebody will probably role play with me here in a minute. And then when they get to the point where the merchant says, no, we're not really interested, et cetera, they can kind of feel the conversation getting off track a little bit. Then at that point, they're using the instant quote tool to reel them back in. And so what they're saying is, hey, I totally understand that. I understand your concerns. I'm not trying to waste your time or anything like that today. I tell you what I would like to do, with your permission, before I leave today, I would like to take literally 2 minutes. It's not going to take longer than 2 minutes of your time. I have a tool on my phone. It actually uses a mathematical algorithm to predict what your credit card processing rates should be based on a database we have of 7,000 existing records. And so we can actually look at similar business types to yours, see what those costs would be. And it's a great way just to kind of, for you, just a gut check, look at your costs. If you already have a good deal, you'll know it right off the bat, and it'll save us both a lot of time. So let me just run through this with you real quick. And then what they'll do is you hit the little plus button down here. And let's say it's a quick service restaurant. And then they'll put some information in here. And this is a good way to get the information. Say, I want to make sure I get an accurate proposal for you, and I'd like to have your information in here. So the name of the business is, Susan Shop, and your name is Susan. What's actually the best phone number for the business here, Susan? And then, she tells you that. And you say, by the way, Susan, when at the end of this, it's going to be a PDF proposal. So I'd like to just, again, with your permission, I'd like to just email it to you. What's the best email address for me to send that to once we get this done here in a couple minutes? And she says, Susan@theshop.com. And you don't need to worry about the source type or the stage. You can adjust that later. So then you click save and quote. And then you're going to go through this here, and this really serves a couple purposes, but you're going to say, there's the great news about the Susan is there's actually only 2 pieces of information I need in order to give you a quote right now in 2 minutes. The first one, my algorithm already predicted, and that's your average ticket size. So they're saying that, based on our database, it looks like for a quick service restaurant like yours, the average ticket size is probably around $21.50. Does that sound about right, or would you say it's a little different than that? So give them a chance, and sometimes they'll say, yeah, that's right. Sometimes they might say, no, ours is probably closer to $30. So you're like, okay, let's make it, $28.50 then, So you just change that. And then you say the only other piece of information that I actually need is your volume. So if you looked at your credit card processing, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, PIN debit, like everything, how much credit card processing volume, how many dollars are you running through, for instance, like last month, do you know roughly how much credit card processing volume you did last month? And they'll say, yeah, we did, $15,000. So you put in that, you don't put any commas anywhere in here. You just put 15,000. You got to name the statement. You can name it whatever you want. You could name it for the most recent month. So you might call this one the October 2016 statement. Now, at this point, you want to pause for just a second and say, now, Susan, there are 2 other numbers I'm going to ask you for. If you don't have them, or maybe you have a statement handy, you could get them. It will make the proposal much more accurate. Obviously, the more data we have, the better our algorithm can predict this stuff. Out of that 15,000, do you happen to know how much of that was American Express and how much of it was PIN debit transactions where people use their PIN number? And so, ask them that question. And, a lot of times, 1 of 2 things is going to happen. Usually they're either going to say, I really don't know. Let's just run it with what we have. Or they'll say, hold on 1 second, and they'll actually go and get their statement, which is really what you wanted anyway a lot of times. So they're going to bring their statement out, and then you can look at it and put that in. And so let's say that they did 2,000 in American Express, and they did 1,500 in PIN debit. The last question you would ask them is say, now, Susan, the last thing is this is an optional field as well. If you would like my PDF proposal to show the savings, I don't need to see all your fees itemized or anything like that, but do you know roughly how much you spent total? I'm talking about, monthly fees, transaction fees, equipment costs, like everything. How much did you pay to process that $15,000 last month? And they might say, yeah, we spent about $575. So you put that in. So again, this is all the information. Again, you don't have to have that. All you have to have is just the total volume and the average ticket, and that will tell you what the total fees would be, like a projection. The algorithm makes an estimate, but it's more accurate with all the data here. So we click create. And this will take about 2 or 3 seconds. The server, is running a huge algorithm in the background in order to make these predictions. And so when this pops up, this is a really nice one to start with and say, well, the first thing I can tell you, Susan, is that your actual cost, as far as like Visa, MasterCard, Discover, your actual cost for processing that 11,500 in volume, that's not including American Express or PIN debit, But just that right there, your cost would only be about $158.39. That's the true cost. Now, again, there are other costs from the credit card processing companies, but this is what's called interchange, and it gives you a chance to basically talk about that. You can also talk about these different assumptions and adjust them. They might say, well, we actually do a lot of, key transactions over the phone. It's a pizza shop. So you might adjust this, and they might say we do, 15% over the phone. So you just adjust it, you hit adjust, and what it's going to do is it's going to run the algorithm again, and it's going to recreate the entire interchange table, which you can see down here. It's a very, very accurate prediction because it actually gets the individual interchange items, but it's not what we're really talking about today. You click compare programs. Now, this is what you don't show them, but you can kind of see some different things here, what your residual and your upfront bonus money would be. You pick one of them right down here. Let's say you pick this one, hit present. And here you have your proposal. And so you can show it to them on your phone first and say, here you can see, your monthly savings, your annual savings, and say, it looks like over the course of 3 years, I'd probably be able to save you somewhere in the range of $7,000. So always start with that 3-year savings. Then you click on your detail here and click Save as PDF. And it's going to create a really, really nice PDF document, which again, you can't see very well on your phone. But on most of your phones, if you actually just tap the screen, it'll give you an option to basically send the little box with the arrow, and you can send it via whatever email you're using on your phone. And it sends them a very nice PDF proposal with your contact information in it. And so this is a way to kind of pull them back in. So that's one method. The other method to use, which I won't go over here, but the other method to use is basically where just when you walk in, which it sounds like what Christian and them are doing, is that when you walk in, you basically just use it right off the bat and say, hey, one thing I always like to do when I get started off as an introduction is that, we provide credit card processing. And I know everybody does, and you probably hear about it a lot. But the reason we like to lead off with that is because we offer really, really low rates in order to get a relationship with you so that down the road, you trust us when you need a website or when you need payroll processing or point of sale or whatever it is that you're offering. And so I'd like to take just 2 minutes. I have an app on my phone. It's just really simple. It's called Instant Quote Tool. It does an instant quote. I don't need a statement. I just need a couple pieces of information. Take me 2 minutes, and then I'll give you a PDF. And that's the way I like to start a relationship, to show you what I can do. And so people use it that way as well.